everyone, and welcome to this special 10-minute sequence designed to help you stretch and release your pelvic floor as you prepare for labour. Today we're focusing on one of the most important yet misunderstood parts of the body during pregnancy, which is the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles at the base of your pelvis. Think of it like a hammock that supports your bladder and uterus and bowel. It plays a really crucial role in your pregnancy and delivery, especially if you're planning on having a vaginal birth. However, there's a common misconception that the pelvic floor only needs to be strong and tight. While strength is obviously important, early in pregnancy, as you enter your third trimester, it becomes equally, if not even more important, that you're really focusing on releasing and relaxing these muscles. Why? Because you want to be giving the birth vaginally, and your pelvic floor needs to stretch significantly to allow the baby to pass through the birth canal. An overly tight, tense pelvic floor can make this process so much harder. So it's time to connect and relax with these muscles and start to feel like they're making a real difference for the birthing experience. Think about this like birthing prep. You would be packing your hospital bag, getting the nursery ready. This is also something that you need to be paying attention to as well. Now, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something really important here, is that while you might have a birth plan in mind, and maybe you're opting to have a planned cesarean, which is fabulous anyway, if you find yourself that you need to have a C-section, I want you to know this. You've not failed yourself or the baby. Giving birth, no matter how it happens, is a magical and transformative experience. And the most important thing is that you're actually giving birth to a healthy baby. So in this sequence, it is all about empowerment, helping you feel more connected to your body. So regardless whether or not you're planning to have a vaginal birth or not, these exercises are a great way to be helping to bring better balance, to help stretch out the pelvic floor, help make sure that your glutes are nice and relaxed. So grab a mat and let's dive in. Finding a way down to the mat, place your hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. We're going to be starting off with some hip circles. So for this movement, you're going to be sending your tailbone back towards your feet and then bringing your tailbone forward of the body. You can start to draw circle-like movements, so taking your tailbone first to the left, circling it around the back of your mat, pulling over to the right. Moving nice and slow here. We're going to be in each exercise for about a minute, giving you enough time to really think about the opening up of your pelvis. This exercise here is a really good one to start to get the hips moving. It's super gentle. And right about now, if you haven't already, start drawing your circles back the other way. As you send your hips back long, I want you to be thinking about lengthening through your spine, keeping your tailbone slightly up towards the ceiling. Brilliant. You've got another 10 seconds here. Nice and slow. And about now, start thinking about your breathing. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. And then getting ready to transition into our next position, I would like you to come back to a neutral spine, so have your hips stacked on top of your knees, and then bring awareness to your foot position. At the moment, they should be parallel on your mat, as you can see with Crystal. I would like you to send your hips back like a traditional rock back, where the tailbone is going back towards your feet. Brilliant. And then sliding your body weight back forward into that 4-point position. And then opening up your feet to the outer edges of your mat, and then continuing to push your hips back. Now, obviously finding space here that feels good for you. Don't overforce this opening up. And then bring your feet back into a neutral position or back into this parallel stance. Hips go back. And then hips come forward. And bring your intention to each movement, keeps flowing through this sequence. Using this as a chance to slow down. So for some of you, you've probably been on the go all day, maybe sitting at your desk, and this is a chance for you to really start to connect in with your baby, connect in with your body, and really start to feel how those movements are feeling for you. And then from here, we're going to bring our cushion just underneath our eye line And then we're going to come into a modified puppy pose. So for this puppy pose, you're going to take your hands and your forearms and your head and rest them down onto the cushion. And you're going to bring your knees slightly back from your hips. So I don't want to have your knees directly under the hips, but slightly bring your knees either further back or bring your hips slightly further forward. Excellent. And a little further again. So bring your hips, that's it. Excellent. Sliding your body weight slightly forward and then just relaxing into this pose. This is a great position. It is similar to a modified inversion, which can be a really great way to back the baby up or off the pelvis, helping to move the baby so it's not maybe pressing into any of the ligaments. And then when you come back out of this position, you'll find that the baby might be sitting just slightly better. And obviously move into whatever position feels comfortable for you, but just being mindful that you're not hyperextending into the shoulders. If at any point in time you're feeling a little bit restless or maybe feeling like you cannot hold that shape, just come out of it. From here, we're going to come back up into hands and knees. We're going to extend out through our right foot, taking the foot out to the side of our body. Excellent. We're going to come into a thread the needle type movement. So we're going to take the same hand as foot that's extended and thread it underneath our body. Opening that hand up towards the sky to open up your chest. Now once again, slow this movement right down. Crystal's in a bit of a rush today. Breathing in through your nose and then out through your mouth. So thoracic rotations are so brilliant to be doing when you're in your third trimester specifically, because as the baby starts to grow, it will be taking up precious real estate in your rib cage, which sometimes definitely makes it hard to breathe, but also causes a lot of those little aches and niggles that you might be experiencing. So spending time doing thoracic rotations where we're really breathing into our side body and practicing 360-degree breathing, where we're breathing into our side ribs and also our back ribs. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's go 3 more for 3. You could also be adding in a slight push backwards of the hips for 2. And then last one. If you're experiencing any pelvic girdle pain and you might be feeling like maybe your adductors are not ready for this stretch, feel free to modify it just to a standard thread the needle. Take that hand down to the ground and let's get ready to go on to the other side. So bring that right knee back in underneath you and extend out through the left foot. Taking the left hand up towards the sky or underneath you, whichever one comes first. Breathing in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Imagine like your rib cage is stacked over your hips, where you're wanting to really think about twisting through the rib cage, trying to get as much space as you can. Brilliant. And once again, just moving to the position that feels comfortable for you. You might be noticing that perhaps you're a little tight on one side, and that's perfectly normal. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel free to add those slight rock backs through the hips, stretching into the adductors to help create a little bit more balance through your pelvis. Sometimes pelvic girdle pain happens when you're experiencing SI joint pain because we have maybe one adductor that's slightly tighter than the other. So this very gentle release is a really good way to be making sure the hips are balanced. Let's go for 2 more. And then last one, you're going to take your hands back underneath your shoulders so that you're coming back into a 4-point position. And bring your leg back in underneath you as well. And then from there, take a step forward on your your right leg, so that you're in a lunge-like position. Brilliant. And once again, just listen into your hips here. This lunge shape, you can either just stay in the lunge, pulsing forward or back, or you can be starting to add a little bit of a cat-cow-like movement. So you're going to breathe in through the nose as you drive the spine up towards the ceiling, and then breathe out through the mouth as you extend the spine long. Once again, moving to whatever position feels good for you today, but you're trying to find space within your body. And every single day when you're pregnant sometimes feels very different to the next. So respecting your body where it might be coming in today and not comparing yourself to where it was maybe yesterday or a week or so ago. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So this position, the cat-cow position, it's encouraging, again, that thoracic mobility, but in forward and back. Once again, we get really tight ribs. Our baby is literally splaying our ribs up and open. So we're trying to create space through our back body here, breathing and sending space to those back ribs so that they are being encouraged to move. Give me 2 more. And then last one. Excellent. And then safely moving from one side and changing over so that we can get the other side working as well. So sending that left leg forward, hands flat to the ground. And if you're really struggling to reach towards the ground, then I would suggest possibly putting your hands maybe on a step or a block so that you are shortening the distance between yourself and the floor. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth as you're extending. Brilliant. The other reason why I really particularly love this position is because in this lunge-like shape, you're also getting the glutes on stretch. And once again, when it comes to pelvic alignment and changes in postural movement, as the baby starts to grow, we start to fall into more of an anterior pelvic tilt, where the belly is thrust forward and we might be loading up more through the back. So this shape is a really good one to help bring length to the glutes, bring length to the back body. Let's go 3 more breaths here. In through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. Wonderful, looking strong. Last one. Excellent. And now from here, we're going to safely transition so that we are sitting on our bottom and our feet out in front of us. So just be mindful how you're moving in and out of space. And take your feet so that they are planted on the ground. They can be hip distance apart. We're going to move into a windscreen wiper with our knees or with our hips. We're going to let the knees fall over to one side, so taking them over to the right, and then lifting them up and taking them over towards the left. This is such a beautiful back release. Again, listen to your body, listen to how your hips feel, but this is a really great way just to get the body moving in a very gentle way. Once again, focus in on your breathing. The nature of this sequence is about helping to release your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor is made up of a whole bunch of muscles, but reminding yourself that it is the sling that supports all of your pelvic organs as well as the baby. And it's got a big job to do if you are giving birth vaginally to stretch and let the baby come through. So we want to be really taking care to help open up the hips, both in internal and external rotation. Helping to release the glutes, which also act as part of the pelvic floor muscles, is a really good way to be making sure that we're on track. So as you're breathing, thinking about creating space through your abdomen, nice full breaths in through the nose and then out through the mouth. And then the last stretch we're going to go into today is a butterfly stretch. So we're going to take our feet together and let our knees drift apart. Now, once again, this stretch might not be for everyone. Anyone experiencing any coccyx pain or not able to sit on their tailbone like you see with Crystal might need to sub this one out for something else. But what you can see here is Crystal's just letting her knees open up. She's lightly fluttering them down. And again, continue to think about your big full breaths here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, as you move into your third trimester, you want to be really mindful that you're not over inhaling and possibly sending more pressure down towards your pelvic floor or starting to bear down. So it just should feel like a nice full inhalation and a nice full exhalation, knowing that the pelvic floor works in response to what's happening with your breath. So as we naturally breathe in, the pelvic floor releases, and as we breathe out, it naturally engages. So we want to be encouraging nice, full 360-degree breathing into our side body and back body. You could add in a little C curves of the spine where you're pressing the shoulders back, and then sitting up nice and tall. And then the very last pose today is either a happy baby, which it may not be for everyone. Not every pregnant woman feels comfortable laying on their back, or in a happy baby where the feet are up. So for Crystal's modification today, I'm going to get her to finish off today's sequence in more of a child's pose. So she's going to roll herself over onto her mat. She can use the pillow as a little bit of extra cushion. She's going to take her knees slightly apart to wherever feels comfortable for her today. She's going to rock back, letting her hands come down onto the pillow, stretching out long. And then in this position, focusing again on that nice full breath and that deep relaxation of the pelvic floor. Finishing off today's practice with 5 nice breaths in this position. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you really enjoy today's stretch, and can't wait to meet you on the mat next time.